Hi guys, it's Michaela and you're watching FunsizedStyle. This video is going to be just a general Q&A. I have not filmed. I was scrolling through my channel and realized that I haven't filmed just a general Q&A about anything in almost a year exactly. I figured it was time. I asked you guys to submit questions over on Instagram. That's where I always ask for questions for Q&As. So if you're not following me over there, be sure to follow me. Instagram is one of my favorite social media platforms. I just love how engaging it is and how interactive I can be with you guys over on Instagram, and I just love our fam over there. I love you guys. Here too on YouTube, obviously. I have the biggest platform here on YouTube. So, but yeah, Instagram is where the Q&A action happens for these videos. So if you ever want to participate in a Q&A, Instagram is the place to be for when that happens. So today I'm just going to be doing a random Q&A, not even like medical related or anything like that, just a random Q&A, and I just really enjoy sitting and chatting with you guys and give you the opportunity to get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into these. I asked you guys to make them unique, so we'll see if you guys followed through. I don't know if it was clear enough the first time, so I had to put like another call to action like the second time, because for some reason all the questions that got submitted were like all favorite questions, like what's your favorite restaurant, what's your favorite color. Like those are boring questions and questions that I've already answered like a bajillion times. So I tried to find some that were more unique here, and I think I have enough. So I thought this was interesting. I got a few questions on like celebrity crush or like childhood celebrity crush, and I honestly like never, at least that I can think of, really had one. I don't think that we should be idolizing these people as like they're some superior, I guess. That doesn't mean they don't have a gift or talent or whatever it may be, but I don't know. I just, like, we're all human. We all sin. We all make mistakes. We all struggle with something, and I don't think that we should put celebrities, people, on these pedestals that we do. And I feel like that is a very unpopular opinion that I have, but you guys asked, and so I'm answering. And yeah, I just don't idolize people in that way, celebrities in that way. It doesn't mean that I don't think they have wonderful gifts and talents to share with the world. I think they do. We all do, but they have just been given a bigger platform to share it. I've never really had one. The next question is, what does a typical day look like for you? And right now, I haven't even talked about this. I should really do like a general life update, because there's a lot of things I have not talked about. I shouldn't say a lot, but a few things. And one of those things is I'm back in college, so I obviously had to take the past year and a half off due to everything that I had going, being in halo traction and spinal surgery, the recovery and complications that came with that. And so when I obviously first enrolled in college after I graduated high school, I never imagined having to take a year and a half gap year. It was not for fun reasons at all. Obviously it was incredibly necessary, and it was really nice because college is something that I struggle with, not academically. I do very well, but just personally, I guess it doesn't fulfill me. It doesn't make me happy, and I don't feel like I'm getting a lot out of it. I feel like that's really bad to say, but you guys know that I don't even like talking about it because I feel like it just comes off wrong. But yeah, it's just I don't enjoy it, and I just can't wait for it to be over. I'm supposed to be going for my bachelor, but these last two classes I will have my associates if I decide to not keep going for my bachelor's. These last two classes that I'm in right now would complete my associate. And then I have other things, other academic avenues, I guess, I'm working on, which I haven't talked about either, that are much more exciting than what I'm currently doing. I'm going a little bit in the healthcare realm, which is really cool. I haven't talked about that at all. No, I'm not going to nursing school or anything like that, but a lot more of an exciting program for me than what I'm currently in, and it's just interesting how our interests shift. And so I work on that a lot, which is why starting in September you started seeing less uploads from me, because classes started back September 6th or 7th, day after Labor Day. And so that's why I haven't been uploading as much because it just takes up so much of my time, because my university works for online students. The classes are accelerated, so the semesters are like half the time, and we're expected to do the same amount of work in a 14-week semester in 7 weeks. So it is crazy. That's a lot of my day. Obviously, doing this, filming, editing, posting on my social platforms, I absolutely love it. There's a lot of behind the scenes that go on to make this content, and things I do with brands behind the scenes. And yeah, it's a lot of work, and it doesn't feel like work for me though. I absolutely love it, and like, this is what I want to do full time. And I think that I've mentioned this multiple times, but that is what makes college so difficult for me, because it takes away so many of the opportunities, to like more of this, and I see more opportunities like physically and financially, more than college degree that I'm working towards has ever given me thus far. That's another aspect of it. Obviously that fulfills my day. I'll go to lunch like with friends, or enjoy shopping, or just go to appointments or whatever. I don't like what a typical day looks like for me. I am still very much recovering from my spinal fusion surgery. I know you're going to be like, Michaela, that was in January. I know, I'll talk about that. You're going to see the second to last segment of my spinal fusion series going up a couple days. It might even be the day after this video. I'm not sure. But you're going to see that soon, and then we'll I'll officially have that series wrapped up, and then be able to talk more about like current events and where I'm at now with all of that. There's days where I'm just in a lot of pain and not wanting to go out or do things. And so that's kind of what a typical day looks like for me right now. It's a very difficult season, and it's not something that I've talked a lot about here on my YouTube channel. I've talked about it a little bit here on Instagram, quite a bit actually, but not here on YouTube. So what a typical day looks like for me right now. Oh, and also I'm doing a lot of work for my research fund and Michigan Medicine. If you missed it, I have my own research fund for osteogenesis imperfecta and scoliosis. So I have a research fund, and money from that fund goes to research for osteogenesis imperfecta and scoliosis. I'll link a video here about that, but that's another passion project that I have, and that keeps me busy. And yeah, so I have a lot of, what do they call that, irons in the fire? Is that what they say? I'm not sure. Okay, the next question is, do you make and keep New Year's resolutions? No. That's my answer. No, I do not. I think New Year's resolutions are so much pressure. You feel like you have to stay on one goal for the whole year. And not that that's not a good thing, or that I think New Year's resolutions are bad. I don't know. I just think New Year's resolutions are so basic. Like, so many people want to make more money, or want to lose weight, or whatever. Like, I think that it doesn't need to be January 1st in order to make like a fresh goal for ourselves. And I know that people will say, well, I know it doesn't, but the new year just gives people an opportunity to feel like they can start over. And that's true. I don't know. I just feel like every day is a new day, and new opportunities and new challenges. And so those challenges that we may encounter may affect our ability to fulfill those New Year's resolutions and change our course of life, and then they end up kind of being a disappointment, and like a disappointment within ourselves. And that's not a good thing to have either, especially the past year and a half of my life, as it's been flipped upside down, going through heel attraction and spinal fusion, multiple spinal surgeries. Like, I don't live a life where I can make concrete plans. Like, I shouldn't say that. For the past year and a half, I've lived that life. I shouldn't say I've never been able to make concrete plans. Like, I make plans all the time. But the past year and a half of going through so much medical complexities, like, I don't, live a life where I can like stick to, there's gonna be something that makes me go off track, or whatever it may be. So I don't know, I just have a lot of mixed feelings about New Year's resolutions. I think they're great for some people. I don't think they're a great tool, and that's okay. Like I said, you don't need a whole new calendar year to go after an opportunity for yourself, to better yourself, to become a better person. And yeah, so that's my opinion on New Year's resolutions. The next question I thought was a little silly, but kind of fun. So on my Instagram, I mentioned, because I did like just a regular Instagram Q&A like a couple months ago, specifically on Instagram, and someone asked me like, what do you like to read, and like, what are your favorite books? And I don't read. So this question here is, why don't you like reading books? And to be honest, I don't know. Well, I guess I do kind of know. So in elementary school, actually, like first, second, and third grade, maybe even fourth grade, but more like first through third grade, I was obsessed with reading books. I loved books. I had an entire bookshelf full of books. Like, I would buy a new book at any chance that I could get. Like, my friends and family would gift me books. Like, I loved books, and I look back and it just seems like a whole different person. I loved books, and I read all the time, and I just had so many books. I think as I got into the higher grades of school, I started, you know, like obviously reading assignments, and they give you specific books that you have to read, and it really, I think that was a big part of like what took away my love for reading, because I would have to spend so much time reading books for assignments at school that I didn't enjoy, about topics that I didn't care about, or things that I didn't care about, and genres I didn't like. And so by the time I was like fulfilled those requirements, like the last thing that I wanted to do was go sit and read another book. And so I think that is what took away my love for reading. Obviously I know like avid readers will say like, oh well, you just gotta have a book that you like to get back to it, and I think that's definitely true. But ever since like a couple of years ago, I even tried to like get back into it, and I just like I didn't find it enjoyable. And so other than that, I don't really know why I don't love it anymore. But I don't think I've ever shared that I used to be like first through third grade, I was like your biggest bookworm, and then after that, like now I own no books, except I recently purchased 3 books on Amazon about fundraising for incredibly small nonprofits. I don't actually have my own like full-on nonprofit, but there's no such book as like how to raise money for a medical research fund. So I just wanted to get those books to like get a basis idea to just how to maximize my research fund and reach people to donate and things like that. So I guess, I mean, informational books can be helpful, and I like those, and those are actually some really good books that I have. But those are the first books that I bought, and I can't even tell you how many years. So that's my history on my relationship, I guess, with reading. I love this question. This is a really sweet question. What is your best feature? And I think that is such a great question. So much, I think, as a society, especially, like, we focus on what we don't like about ourselves instead of what we do like about ourselves, and we are our own worst critic, 100%, 120%. Like, we are our own worst critic, and so I think that this is a really sweet question. I would say that my best feature is my smile. It's something that I get questions on, or not questions, it's something that I get compliments on all the time, and it just makes me feel really confident when people say they love my smile. And so I would definitely say my smile. Mainly my smile, though, is what I would say is my best feature. This is an interesting question. Okay, what is the best and worst purchases you've ever made? Good question. Well, I don't know, let me think about like a worst purchase. Actually, I do have one. Let me grab it. Okay, so I figured we would end this question on a high note, so I'll start with my worst purchase first. I'm like pretty good with what I buy, or else I like try to be. I used to, like in my early years of makeup obsession, I bought like more makeup than I needed. I still kind of do, but I'm much better at it. And like clothes are my guilty pleasure. Like clothes are like my big one. My defense to that is I wear them, so it's not like they sit in my closet and I don't wear them. Like I wear them a lot. So I couldn't really think of any like big purchases that were like my worst purchases. Cause I guess that, to me, like when I hear that kind of question in a Q&A, I think of like the big ticket best and worst items. So this is one of the things that I thought of. I would say this Urban Decay Naked Heat Palette is one of my worst purchases, just because I'm not one to spend. I can't afford a lot of high-end makeup. This palette first came out, like I was still obsessed with warm shades, and I hardly wear them anymore. Like, I just wear the same neutral eye now. I don't know why I stopped wearing warm eyeshadow. I need to start doing it again, especially now that it's fall. But when this first came out like a couple of years ago, I like was one of the first to get it. I went on the Urban Decay website and I got it. So excited that, because I love the Urban Decay Naked palette, so I saw that they were coming out with an entire like warm tone palette, because at the time that was like when I was super obsessed. I was like, I have to have it. But I like never reached for this palette. I don't even know why, because it's not like the shadows are like not good. They're really good shadows. I just never reached for it, and it's really embarrassing to say because this palette retails for like $50. So I spent a pretty penny on this, and I just don't use it. Say this is one of my worst purchases. And then my best purchase, this is not expensive by any means, but if you'll notice, especially on my Instagram, I like never carry a purse. I have not for years, just because I've never had a purse that I like really love, that is easy for me to carry, that is big but isn't too small. And within the past couple of years, I've seen this style of purse that I'm going to show you on Instagram a lot, and I like have always wanted one, but I've always wanted to purchase one in person, because sometimes this style of bag can be really small, like too small to fit anything if you're not like looking at it in person, like seeing the actual size and dimension and all of that. And I was at Marshall's one day, and I finally saw the bags of my dreams, and they were so inexpensive. I grabbed both colors, and I've just been obsessed with them ever since. And you're going to see this in a current favorites video coming soon as well, but I've now started a handbag collection, because ever since I saw these two bags, I've become obsessed with the style bag and like added multiple to my collection. A brand reached out to me actually to pick one, and a different brand than what I'm showing you. And then one of you sent me a bag the size, and I'm obsessed. And then my best friend got me one for my birthday, and so I've got a whole handbag collection of this size purse going, and I have 5 or 6 of them now, and I'm literally so happy. It's so fun. Like, this style handbag is my new absolute obsession, and so I'm going to show you these now. I found these at Marshall's, and they were, I do not know how much these retail for. It looks much bigger in the camera, I feel like. I'll insert some pictures too, but this is the first one. This is my black everyday bag. It's by the brand Deluxe City, Los Angeles. When I first purchased these and posted about them on Instagram, I looked and looked for an Instagram handle and a website, and they don't have either of them. So this is a faux leather, not use any animal, I don't know what you call it. It's like cruelty free, like PETA approved. In this bag, it's faux leather here. So that's my black everyday bag for all seasons. I'm obsessed. It's the cutest little bag. And then this I'm not currently using now because fall, but this is a super fun bright bag, like perfect for a pop colored an outfit, and I love it. It was so fun to use for summer, and so yeah, these were my fun purchases. These have been some of my best purchases, because I'm like such a girly girl, and like I don't have a purse. These are my fun bags. They're my best purchases, and you would think they're so expensive, but they were not. This one was, I believe, $12.99, and then this one was $14.99. Obviously, they are much more like retail value, because I remember seeing the price tag and I was like, oh wow. But yeah, they are amazing and my best purchases for sure, because now I have a handbag collection started, and it is the best. It is so much fun. The next question is most embarrassing moment in a medical setting, and when I saw this question, I immediately knew my answer for this, and I believe I may have told this in a video at some, I don't remember what video it would have been, but if you've already heard this story, I'm sorry, but this is definitely my #1 most embarrassing medical story in a medical setting. And so it was when I was having a surgery, and I had to have my femur rerouted, and I think it was my femur, and going to the OR. I struggle with generalized anxiety disorder. I don't like talking about my anxiety. I don't think it's bad to talk about mental health. I think it's really good, but for some people, it's just a very private thing. So this surgery, I must have been extra anxious or something. They must have asked me, because I must have like consented that it was okay. So like, I don't usually get the medication that like makes you feel really good. Like when you're about to go into surgery, that kind of relaxes you. For some reason, like they felt that it was necessary. Oh, I think also the reason that they gave it to me, like, they didn't give it to me in pre. They gave it to me, like, right as they were, like, putting me to sleep. Like, I was in the operating room at this point, and I forget what kind of reaction this is called. Like, a reverse reaction. This medication. Not like an allergic response, but it kind of was. Completely had the opposite effect for me. It was very embarrassing. The medication was midazolam. I think that's how you say it. You're a nurse, I'm sorry. I'm probably saying that wrong. Midazolam. I think that's how you say it. So they give me this medicine, and I think it was because my heart rate was like going extra fast or something, and it was like a different newer anesthesiologist, and so he's probably like, let's give her some midazolam and like calm her down and like take the heart rate down a little bit. But that's just normal for me. Like my heart would just race before I'm about to go out, and so they gave it, and I had so embarrassing. I can't even really talk about it. I had like this complete out of body experience, and it like made me feel like I was like literally had no control over my body. And I started like screaming bloody murder, and I'd say equivalent, if not more, to when I had been placed in my halo while awake. I'll put that video here. I started screaming bloody murder, and I just remember having like complete like out of body experience, and it felt like I had no control over my body, and I was shaking and screaming, and everyone was like kind of freaking out a little bit, because obviously this medication is like supposed to like tone you down, not make you spaz. Like a complete reverse reaction. We know it was the medication because this started happening like as soon as the medication in my IV, and I've never had this type of reaction before, and I obviously don't act like that with a surgery. I've had 27 of them, and so yeah, it was crazy. It was so embarrassing. Needless to say, that medication is on my allergy list now and is a no-no. And yeah, I've never had anything happen like that since. But it was just very embarrassing because I was older. I was like 18 or 19, older, and old enough to like not scream bloody murder randomly and have this out-of-body experience. So they definitely said it was from the medication. It is a very rare reaction, I guess. They don't see this a lot with midazolam, but they do see it. And so I was the gal, and it was terrifying, and I still remember that to this day. That's my most embarrassing story. Like, I just had no control, and I felt like embarrassed that my medical professionals had to like see me act like that, and I was embarrassed because I knew what was happening. Like, I knew it was bad, and I like couldn't make it stop. It was so scary. This next question is, what is an irrational fear you have? It's hard because, like I said, I have generalized anxiety. That's like not like any specific thing. I think all the things that I've endured in my life makes my brain like respond and like have this chemical imbalance when reacting to things. I don't really have like big things that I'm quote scared of. It's really weird. Like, my anxiety is not typical. But yeah, so I don't really know. I don't like I know they're good for the environment and they will sting you if you leave them alone, but like I don't like bees. Yeah, I don't really have anything crazy irrational that I'm afraid of. Honestly, if I can have a nail pierced through my skull, I really don't have any fears anymore. So, okay, the next question is, what fall trend do you think is the ugliest? Now, this is interesting. I've not really studied this year's fall trends, so I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's like not a helpful Q&A all of a sudden. I know like hats, like the floppier hats is like a big thing for fall, and it's not my thing. Like it would not look good on me. I look horrible in hats. They look great on some gals, but not this one. So, but I don't think it's ugly on me, if that makes sense. I'll try to find some pictures of some hats that I'm, those fall floppy hats. Not like the summer beach hats, but like floppy hats. The ones where they, the girls will wear like the scarf and the vest, and they'll have like that hat. I don't know what you call it. I don't know, but it's not my favorite trend for me. Dream travel location. Domestically, I would say New York City, like for a long period of time, or Florida. Like, I have only ever been to Orlando. There's so much more to Florida. I would love to see like more of Clearwater. There's so much to do. Clearwater area, and I don't know, I think Florida is beautiful, and there's so much to see that I haven't seen. Like, really get to spend and like have a beautiful like tropical vacation. I think it'd be so fun. And then like internationally, I've always wanted to visit like Bora Bora or the Bahamas or like Turks and Caicos, a place like that, but I don't really know if it's realistic as a wheelchair user. But yeah, those would be some of my dream vacations. The next question is, hardest part of living with your conditions? It's hard to say now because like during childhood, I would obviously, a cat, I don't know if you can see, oh, you can see it there. You can't say. It's hard to say because obviously in my childhood it was really hard because that's when I fractured all the time. That's when I fractured all the time. So that was like the hardest part. But now being into adulthood, I don't know what I would say is the hardest part. I guess just the fact that like a lot of people don't understand it. So like now that I'm kind of over like the childhood like fracture period, it's really nice to just be able to live everyday life. I have to worry about fracturing over the simplest things. Like obviously the risk is always there. I still have osteogenesis imperfecta, but puberty plays a huge role in making things better, and my life has just drastically changed for the better since then. So that was the hardest part then, but now like in my current life, I would say the most difficult part of my condition is not necessarily having the condition itself, but rather the things that I have to decide that goes along with it. Like not understanding, like when they see me, like they automatically think the worst for me, or that I'm not capable of being independent or doing things, or they'll see like my side and automatically think that I'm like cognitively and intellectually impaired. And obviously you guys know by listening to me talk, share my experiences, I'm not. So that really plays a part in like how some people will interact with me, and that's really frustrating. Those are the hardest parts now. I'll also say, just like when you utilize a wheelchair, like you're just not included in as much, even if it's like family or friend circle things, because their houses aren't accessible, or they want to go on a trip and do things that they can't do, or go places you can't go because they're not accessible. I think those are kind of the most difficult aspects of living with my condition, or not the condition itself, but rather the exterior aspects of the condition, if that makes sense. The last question that I wanted to answer, I just thought was a good positive note to end off of, and it will be the last question that I answer for this Q&A, because I actually feel like it was much longer than I anticipated it to be. The question is, if I could choose to not have osteogenesis imperfecta, would I? And those of you that know me well already know my answer. Probably like, oh my gosh, here we go, because it's something that I'm passionate about talking about. And I'm going to link a couple of videos here in the iCard and in the description that you can reference, where I'll chat about this more. I've done like some pretty separate videos on this topic as a whole, because it's something that I'm so passionate about, and it's not something I could possibly answer in full in just a Q&A. But because I'm so passionate about it, I have done videos on this topic in the past. The answer is no, I would not trade my disability if I could, and know that they are part of the purpose that God has for me and my life and His story He has written for me, and it has been the biggest blessing. And I know people don't understand that, and there's people out there that will never be able to understand, and that's okay. That's not, you don't have to understand it, but many people don't understand how I'm so happy with the circumstances that I have. But what they don't realize is that we all suffer in some aspects of our life at some point. Like, that's just life. The only difference between my challenges and maybe yours is that mine is just more visible, and mine just happens to be osteogenesis imperfecta. That doesn't mean that other aspects of my life that are hard, that doesn't mean that there are aspects of your life that aren't hard. Like, we all go through something. But my disability has given me more perspective than anything ever taught me so much. It taught me to value so many things that people don't value. The gift of life. Like, there are some people that think that I shouldn't have been born because of my disability, that I would be a burden on society and my family. And I'm grateful to have been born into a family that doesn't have those nasty beliefs. I have been given the most amazing opportunities to share about Jesus and the miracles that He's done in my life. To have this platform to share with all of you and be able to connect with all of you. And I can't imagine my life without my disability. Like, obviously, osteogenesis imperfecta is a condition that you're born with, and so I don't know a life outside of osteogenesis imperfecta. And it's given me so many amazing people in my life. Like, the people that I have in my life are just such good people, and it really makes you realize really quickly the best in people and also the worst in people. And so there's just so many facets to it. That's it for the Q&A today. It was so much longer than I anticipated, so I'm going to end this real quick, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!